Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk. This is episode 465. Shout out to everybody who's been tuning in. Shout out to my replay gang and everybody who's been tuning in live. Your viewership is much appreciated. Also, shout out to everybody who has been taking advantage of my virtual coaching platform. Please click the link in the description box if you are interested in setting up a Zoom console, connecting with me, talking strategies. If you're encountering any issues in your dating life, any mental health issues, any emotional issues, any physical health issues, lack of fulfillment, lack of purpose, hitting that rut, that tough spot, anxiety, negative thought spirals, things like that. If you are affected by any of these things, I definitely would like to be of service to you. So definitely be sure to click the links in the description box. Now let's get to the topic at hand. My question for tonight, for all of you listening, is your life becoming a storyline? And you'll notice the people on the picture, Erika, Mina, and Safari, which is, I'll say, a union that I'm not surprised by. However, I don't think it's a union that can thrive based on its components and based on the elements that the match was made. And what I'm going to do is go into the dynamics of their union and then bring it back to you as far as why I believe that a lot of us are operating from a storyline standpoint and may not know that that is what's happening. Shout out to you, Dawn. What's going on? So, is your life becoming a storyline? Let's start with Erika, Mina, and Safari. Why are they together? Well, on a basic level, and you'll hear me talk about this a lot. On a basic level, we connect, or we are attracted to certain people based on the active elements, the most active elements that are vibrating, rotating, or dominant within us. And although that makes for maybe good chemistry, to good conversation, maybe like-mindedness, it often ends in chaos when those very things that attracted us in the beginning become cannibalistic to the relationship and ultimately self-destructive and self-serving at the end of the day. And with both of them, just kind of watching their careers just casually, the need for attention and outside validation are the elements that rise to the surface for me. And the relentless pursuit of validation and attention on a wide scale, on a national and global scale, to the point where a lot of their behaviors are intentionally self-destructive, just for the reaction, just for the response, just for the headline. And I find it very hard to cultivate a love scenario in a situation where the void of lack of attention, or the need for attention by any means necessary, is the nucleus of the organism at this point. So, as you've seen in their career, they'll pretty much do any and everything to present themselves. If we're looking at even just from a cosmetic level, right? Very much image focused, very much body focused, surgeries and, different aesthetic work done, always on camera, always in front of the camera, always on social media, and presenting every element and every aspect of their personal lives, whether destructive or not. It has to be presented. And so anything that you cannot stop, anything that you feel a compulsion to do, is usually in response to there being a void, there being some sort of emotional void present. And I would argue that emotional voids lead to living a life comparable to a reality show storyline. Number one, what do we know about storylines? Well, first thing is they're scripted. So a storyline is contrived. It's something that's developed ahead of time. And I would also say that a lot of us at different times are almost living by a pre-prescribed script, because if we have the same thought process, the same perspectives, living in the same pain, living in reaction to the same pain, living with the same expectations of other people, maneuvering in the same fashion, doing the same things, emotionally responding the same ways. That's a script. Now, whether you consciously created it or you developed it in reaction to your trauma and your beliefs were cultivated and your personality was developed around the trauma or the negative family environment you came from, doesn't matter, because it's essentially a script. You aren't creating the life that you want, you're responding in a very predictable fashion, the same way scripted TV series and movies occur. Which brings me to the second thing: it's predictable. Your life is predictable. Your same type of date, same type of people, same type of general feeling space. Some of you may be angry most of the time. Some of you may be, easily triggered to anxiety a lot of the time, or especially, or when it comes to the dating space, you may have a pre-prescribed and predictable mentality when it comes to the opposite sex. Therefore, your results look the same. Your results look similar from week to week, month to month. And it's easy to predict what's happening in general, even outside of dating in general. If you do the same things over and over again, your life essentially becomes predictable. And if it's predictable, if it's largely predictable, then growth is either not happening or it's happening on a very low scale. So this is another thing to keep in mind. Now, what else do we know about storylines? They're repetitive, which a lot of our lives are repetitive, and also they usually end in a chaotic or negative fashion. In most cases, if you look at reality TV, it's not really a whole lot of happy endings. There's usually a lot of shocking or chaotic or toxic elements and endings. And this again connects to my earlier point with it being repetitive. So If we have drama, we have breakups, we have toxicity, we have arguments, we have drama, and then that being repetitive. And then also the other element of it being controlled. If it's a storyline or a script, if we're talking about actors and actresses, you're given that. That's given to you. So a lot of you have been acting in ways, seeing the world in ways that you haven't challenged yourself to change. You're just on autopilot. It's just almost, when you log on somewhere and they ask you if you're a bot, some of you should click yes. And I say that non-judgmentally and respectfully, because I am not here to make anyone feel negative. I'm here to challenge the status quo. I'm here as a disruptor to what's been repetitive, what's been predictable, what's been almost scripted. And this controlled cycle that you've been in, chances are you don't like it. And so I'm here to say you have the power to make changes to it. You have the power to alter it. You have the power to get back in the driver's seat and create a different perspective. Be open-minded. Challenge yourself sometimes. Challenge your old views. Challenge your cycle. Be bold enough and secure enough to look back at your romantic timeline and see where you made the mistakes. See where you went left. See where you chose wrong. And do the analysis, gather the data, and do it differently this time. Who's to say you can't do that? Who's to say you're too old to change? I'll often get triggered when people, use the word set in their ways, and, people, but then want to complain about results. You have to pick a side. If you're unhappy with results, you do different things to gather different results. If you're set in your ways and you love your life, I ain't got nothing to say to you. If you love how your life is going and you remain set in your ways, I ain't got nothing for you. This is for the people who have goals that they haven't reached yet, but are seemingly stuck in their own storyline, in their own repetitive cycle, and desire for things to be different, desire to manifest different, desire to think different, desire to grow and evolve and change and ascend and experience life differently, no matter what the age is. If you're still on the planet, there's a reason for that. So why not make the best of it and utilize your sense of control and capability and capacity to do so? So again, I stand before you as a disruptor to the status quo, because at the end of the day, you deserve to have your goals realized. And I want to empower you to know that you can reverse what was done to you, what you experienced, what you remember. You can shift the tides. You can change your experience by virtue of changing your mindset and being open to different possibilities. But first, it starts with awareness. It starts with the accountability. And then it starts with that hunger to really grow past where you are and know that it's limitless out there as far as your growth is concerned and your manifestation is concerned. So tonight I will leave you with that. Hopefully you all are in a great space to have a great weekend. Hopefully your expectations are high for your ability and your growth in due time. It's not a race, but it's definitely something that is possible incrementally. And if you would like help with that, definitely be sure to contact me. Click the link in the description box to connect with me. I'm always available for you guys. So thank you for listening. Have a great night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Be sure to share and subscribe.